When people hear the word cyber terrorism, the first thing that usually comes to one's mind is the thoughts of terrorist attacks, war, explosions, or some type of physical activity that victimizes or causes the death of innocent people. Cyber terrorism, however, is not usually intended for physical harm. Rather, its intentions is to attack a network of computer or devices to gain access to confidential data or financial information. Some may think that cyber terrorism and cyber attacks are the same, but there is a big difference between the two. Cyber terrorism is an act of sabotage that is carried out to cause terror and loss of critical infrastructure. Computers are used to store, process, and communicate information between groups of individuals. Computers are not the problem though. It's the people who manipulate them for cyber attacks. These acts are carried out through the computer because it is cheap, difficult to track, and can affect large numbers of people. Furthermore, the attack can be carried out from anywhere in the world. There are entire organizations or groups of hackers which commit these acts to break into government databases for profit, fraud, disabling defense, blackmail, control of machinery, creation of social unrest, and destruction and fear. There are numerous ways hackers can get into a system, through a virus, a Trojan horse, or even an email. Wireless networks can be one of the biggest threats to the public because in this case, you don't have to be physically connected to a computer to acquire its information.
There are some sectors that can be affected, like defense industry, energy, finance, telecommunications, transportations, etc. How can an organization be safer? Actually, they cannot be 100% safe, but they can take some precautions. Defense methods include encryption, firewall, browser privacy settings, power blocker, account control, creating a backup system, intrusion detection system, and changing your passwords regularly.
The law is also considered a tool to combat cyber terrorism. Many states in the world unite together to achieve better results in the struggle to fight against cyber threats. In 2001, the Council of Europe and other countries, such as Canada and the US, signed a document called the Budapest Convention on Cybercrime. This document is a guideline for developing national legislation against cyber terrorism. The convention establishes an agreement between countries to cooperate and work together to fight against cyber terrorism. Some countries have passed their own law to prevent the development of cybercrime. For example, in 2010, Canada launched a strategy to protect Canadian citizens, industries, and governments from cyber threats. According to Canadian government, Canada's cybersecurity strategy will boost Canada's cybersecurity against the growing threats of cybercrime. This similar legislature provides cybersecurity which exists in other countries. Some countries that combat cyber terrorism are using the highest measure of restraint against people who are involved in cybercrime. For example, Pakistan decided to use capital punishment for people whose activity in cyberspace resulted in people's deaths. In Great Britain, Elizabeth II proposed a life sentence on people who caused serious cyber attacks. However, the law against cyber terrorism is not very effective as it should be. First of all, it's hard to define what kind of cyber activity should be considered cyber terrorism and what not. Sometimes people who are not involved in cyber terrorism come within the purview of the law and opposite. For example, according to the proposed update to the British Computer Misuse Act, people who make good faith, such as antivirus software developers, come within the category of people involved in cyber terrorism. Another problem is human rights and privacy. The effective struggle against cyber terrorism requires access to our privacy. That's why many projects of cybersecurity bills are subjected to criticism, as it has happened with the Cyber Information Sharing Act in US. Except There are many other problems that break the development of effective anti-cyberterrorism laws. The cybersecurity law needs significant changes to be able to secure us from threats of cyberterrorism.
Cyberterrorism is any intentional or predetermined plan to attack the computer system, networks, computer programs, or any data to cause loss to an infrastructure. Computers can play a huge role in cyberterrorism. At the same time, they can provide us with our biggest defense if used to our advantage. There are no foolproof solutions to stop this problem, but there are some precautions or measures you can take to secure your computer system. Also, there are laws that have been created to protect online users. However, the cyberspace is very difficult to police, and enforcement of laws is sometimes impossible due to the anonymity the internet provides to its users.